How you doing? I wanted to make this video to talk about hydroponic gardening and to show everyone how easy it is to get started. I'm going to do a little setup here just to show you how quick and easy it is, how anybody can do it. Um, Hydroponic growing is growing without soil, and I'm going to do a flood and drain. It's also called an ebb and flow setup here today. And it's a really easy way to start, and it works very well and anybody can do it. I do have a flood and drain table here, a flood table, and they're really convenient. I recommend them, but if you don't have one, you could easily take a Rubbermaid container, one of the Rubbermaid totes, the storage totes, and I'd say just cut the top off, so leave the bottom portion, and you'll have something really similar to this that would work well. What I would suggest is to get two Rubbermaid totes and cut one in half to give you this portion, and the other one I would use underneath. Instead of here, I have the 5-gallon bucket. I would use the Rubbermaid container as your reservoir to hold the water, the nutrient solution. So I'd have the cut portion on top and the second tote on the bottom, and it'll give you the same kind of setup that I'm going to show you here today. You'll just go ahead and drill two little holes in the bottom of it, and that would get you started. And I mean, everybody's going to be able to find one of those Rubbermaid totes. If you have to buy one, they're inexpensive. Most of you all probably have one already. So you're going to want to get a couple flood and drain fittings. You got these here, pretty simple. I'm sure you can order these on eBay or Amazon. And this is going to be the flood portion. It has a little diffuser here that'll keep your water from squirting up to the ceiling. This is going to be your overflow. So what I've done here is this is at the level that you want it to fill to. So this is going to prevent this from overflowing. And it's going to fit right in here. So when the water fills up, the level is only going to come to the top of this. And then it's all going to flood back down into the reservoir. And when the pump turns off, the whole thing's going to drain. So it's pretty simple. And you can get these pumps here. This is probably a $10 pump and pretty inexpensive, reliable, submersible pump. So we're going to go ahead and drop this underwater into the reservoir. You're not going to need one, but I would really recommend getting one. So if you don't have one, your pH levels are going to be a little high. With hydroponics, you probably want to have a pH around 5.5 to 6.0. Your pH is going to be somewhere maybe 6.5 coming from tap water. And if you're able to drop it down, that's going to be beneficial. You'll still be able to grow plants if you don't adjust the pH, but you might have some nutrient lockout problems where the plant's going to have some problem absorbing and utilizing some of the nutrients. So a pH meter like this is a good one. It's going to be about $30. You could spend, a couple hundred, but a nice $30 meter is going to do everything you need. You're just going to put the little probe here underwater. It's going to give you a digital readout of your pH, and you can adjust it from there. Like I said, you want to be around 5.5 to 6.0. Usually you'll start out at the lower range of that with a young plant, and then as it progresses, you're going to let the pH rise a little. Certain nutrients are better utilized at a different pH. So in the lower ranges, you're going to have better nitrogen uptake. That's going to give you the nice green, healthy plants. And then as they go into flowering or blooming, you start to develop fruit. You're going to want to raise the pH a little, and that's going to help it to absorb phosphorus, and that's what's going to really give you your big fruits and healthy harvest. You've also got a nutrient here. This is going to be a cheap one. That's like a $10 or $15 bag of nutrients. Pretty basic. You could spend a whole lot, but you really don't need to. There might be some benefits to some of the more expensive stuff, but a complete, basic nutrient is going to do everything you need to do without spending a whole lot of money. You might, on top of that, want to add a calcium magnesium supplement, a CalMag. That's going to help with your fruits to prevent any blossom end rot. If you've ever seen a tomato with like a rotted out bottom, that's going to be a calcium deficiency. So a base nutrient, that's about $10. Your calcium magnesium is going to run about the same. And then when you get into the flowering portion, you're going to want to switch from a grow to a bloom nutrient. Or if you're using a 3-part nutrient, you're going to want to raise the amount of the bloom nutrient or the phosphorus levels. And don't let the hydroponic gardening intimidate you. It's pretty simple. It can be as simple as you want it to be, or as complicated and expensive as you want it to be. So this is going to be a real basic, simple setup. I'm going to go ahead here and just show you, how quick and easy it is to do. So you're going to first want to take your fittings and get the gasket off here. And so these are going to fit right inside of this table. And I've already got the holes drilled. Just trying to get the washer on there. So that one's in. Then this is going to be the overflow, same thing, right next to it. And with your overflow, you might, if you can, you want to leave a little space with your tubing coming down, because a little splashing with the return is a good thing. It'll help aerate the water. It's going to be beneficial to have some splashing there. And then you just got your tubing. So here's a piece of tubing. It's going to fit right over this fitting. Pretty simple. That's going to be the overflow. Then I'm going to go ahead here and take out the pump. So this is just going to be a small submersible pump. Again, you can get that off at Amazon. It's going to be maybe a $10 item. So here's going to be your fitting for this. Just put it right in there. Pretty simple, clips right in. This piece of tubing is going to fit right over that. And here, I would have been better off to use black tubing. So for anybody doing this, if you use black tubing, it's going to help prevent algae buildup and prevent algae growth. So go ahead and get black tubing instead of the clear. When the light gets in there, it's going to be bad. Also, here's a simple timer. You can use this to turn the pump on and off. It's another $10, $15 item. So this would automatically, you could just put it on a cycle. Depending on what you're growing in, if you're growing in cocoa, you might want to water once or twice a day. If you're growing in rock wool, you might want to water up to like 6 times a day. So here I got the 5-gallon bucket already filled with water. Again, here you'd probably want to put a lid on this and cut a hole for the return and for the flood, because when the light hits this, it's going to create algae growth that you don't want. So this pump, it's a submersible pump. It goes right into the water, right under the water like that. This piece of tubing is a little bit too long, but I should have cut that ahead of time, but I'm not going to stop the video for that. And so here I'm just going to go ahead and plug the pump in. And so this is filling now. And so if your plants are in here, you're just going to water the bottom little bit of the root zone. Another good thing about flood and drain is this is going to create a displacement, and then when it drains, it's going to create a suction that'll pull fresh oxygen into your root zone, so it's going to give you nice healthy growth. And that's really all there is to it. So here it's filling up. In a minute you're going to see the water start to overflow. And so with this, once you have it properly set up, you can just check your pH. You might check your pH every day or as little as once a week. Change the reservoir, change out the nutrients once a week. So you can see here it's overflowing, it's filled up. So you'd let it run like that for maybe 15 minutes or so, and then have your pump shut off if it was on a timer. And it's going to water the plants automatically for you. With hydroponics, you're going to get faster growth, so it'll cut down on your vegetation times and lead to more harvest per year. This would be a good setup for indoors, outdoors. You can do these really big or small like this. So you could set a 4x8 tray up, same setup as this, just on a bigger scale. And really simple, efficient way of doing it. I like the flood and drain setup a lot, so I just thought I'd share it with you. And if you have any questions, I'm sure I missed some stuff, so any questions, just leave them down there in the comments. And when this pump turns off, it's all going to drain right back down. It'll drain back through the pump. And yeah, just wanted to share that with you. So don't be intimidated by hydroponics. It's not that complicated. We set this up here in about 5 minutes. Thanks for watching.